Hi food professionals, have you ever wondered what happens to the meat when it's stored in your freezer for the longer period of time? So today we learn about the 4 remarkable changes that meat undergoes during its freezing adventure. So let's start. The first change that occurs in meat during the frozen storage is the freezing burns. So what are the freezing burns? Freezing burn is a type of defect that leads to the dry, discolored, yellowish patches on the surface of meat along with the accumulation of ice. So, how it happens? It happens when you store your meat in the freezer for the longer period of time, or if the meat is not properly packed, not properly vacuum packed, not properly covered, and you didn't pack your meat in an airtight Ziploc bag. Due to all these factors, the chances of getting freezing burns are comparatively high. So, the second question is here, how it happens? It happens when the surface of meat, when the meat is directly in contact with the cold dry air of the freezer, which cause the meat to lose its natural moisture and become dehydrated. So the third question is here, is it safe to consume the meat with freezing burns? The answer can be both, yes or no. Why yes? Because the meat is free from microbiological contamination. If the temperature of the freezer is not compromised, then meat is free from microbiological contamination, you can consume the meat. The answer can be no as well. Why no? Because the meat can lose its natural aroma, natural texture, its natural juiciness, and become dry upon thawing. So, and the fourth question is here, how we can avoid the freezing burns? We can avoid the freezing burn by following the proper storage practices. Like we should always pack our meat in a airtight Ziploc bag before storage. The temperature of the freezer should always be -18 or below, or try to avoid your meat to store longer than 3 to 4 months in a frozen storage. So by following the good storage practices, we can avoid the freezing burns. So the second change that meat experience in a frozen storage is loss of its natural juiciness. How it happens? During the frozen storage, the natural moisture of the meat became freezes and leads to the formation of ice crystals. These ice crystals damage the cell membrane and allow the release of the moisture. And upon thawing, these natural moisture, this natural juiciness of the meat can be lost, and the meat appears dry upon thawing. This can also affect badly on the taste and aroma of the meat. We can avoid this change by following the good storage practices. So the third change that meat undergoes during the frozen storage is loss of its natural color. How it happens? As we all know, the natural color of the meat is bright red and purplish red, and it's due to the presence of the natural pigment which we call myoglobin. Myoglobin is basically a protein which is responsible for the natural color of the meat. If during frozen storage meat is exposed to oxygen, the oxidation will start, and during oxidation this natural pigment of the meat will start getting breakdown and leads to the discoloration of meat, and meat will start turning and slowly meat will start turning brown. So the fourth and last change that meat experiences during the frozen storage is loss of its natural texture. The frozen meat appears to be slightly tough and hard upon thawing, and it's all due to the denaturation of its protein, alteration in the protein structure, change in their protein matrix. And as we talked before, due to the loss of the natural juiciness of the meat appears to be tough and hard upon thawing. So today we talked about the 4 changes that meat undergoes during the frozen storage. The freezer burns, loss of its natural moisture, loss of its juiciness, loss of its natural color, and loss of its texture. And we can avoid these changes by following the good storage practices. Like always try to pack your meat in a airtight Ziploc bag. Try to pack your meat in a vacuum pack packaging. Your meat should always cover, properly wrapped, and the temperature of the freezer shouldn't be compromised. It should always at -18 or below, and try not to store your meat in the freezer longer than 3 to 4 months. So by following the good storage practices, you can avoid all these 4 changes. And if you found this video helpful, you can share it with your friends. Thank you.